right, I'm about ready to go here. Let me get my show notes ready. There we go. Go ahead and bring down music here. There we go. Make that go away. Yeah, we don't need that anymore. All right, so I've got a little bit of caffeine. I got a little bit of chocolate. I got my show notes. I am all set. Hello, everyone. Once again, chatting about some things here and there from way back. This time, I'm having a look at one of my favorite sci-fi franchises, Star Wars. I imagine it's always a topic of debate. Which is the greatest trilogy out there, Lord of the Rings or the original Star Wars trilogy? I keep going back and forth on that myself. But here recently, I've been thinking more and more about the fate of Star Wars, where it's headed, what might the future be for Star Wars if it has a future. Because past few weeks, I've been seeing one article after another about this project being canceled or this project being delayed. Oh, and right off in the chat, I want to say thank you all for joining me tonight, whether you're live or lurking. As always, hello, Killer Rabbit. Very cool to have you in the chat. Let's see. Oh, what kind of chocolate? I just finished off a Twix Mini. And right in front of me, I have a little bit of a dark chocolate and then a little bit of a Snickers bite, one of those bite-sized Snickers. And then the caffeine is in the form of black tea. So yeah, it's a little bit to keep me going through tonight until I get ready to collapse from sheer exhaustion after a particularly long day. And from time to time, I have to hit the mute button because allergies are always awful. Used to be just a few times during the year the allergies will get bad, but depending on where you are in Texas, it's almost year round. It is crazy sometimes. But anyway, there I was thinking about all these articles, or at least two that I've seen so far, about what Star Wars movie or TV show has been put on hold, has been canceled, or pushed back, or there's been a number of writers attached to it that have come and gone. Similarly, cast members juggled or whatnot. Production members have been juggled around, whatnot. People going, coming, going, whatnot. It's, for many of us, Star Wars has been part of our childhood. I mean, those in my age group, we can probably remember seeing Star Wars as it first came out in the theaters in the late 70s, like 1977 or 78. It was just something that stuck with us since then. And then we had no idea what was going to happen once Disney bought it in, what was it, 2012? What a good 12 years or so ago, dozen or so years. It's no shortage of things have been said about it, things that have been said, resaid, debates raging on about the purchase of Star Wars by Disney, whatnot. Where is Disney Star Wars going? Where does the future lie for Star Wars? I mean, that is probably as I play with the settings here. No, do I do that? Do I do this? No, I'll just do that. I don't really need my little screen icon on all the time. But anyway, as I continue on pontificating here, ever since Disney bought Star Wars, it has been we've been having diminishing returns in terms of quality of the show. It's the law of diminishing returns here. It has become a product instead of something that is quality entertainment. We've seen it become a commodity, just another product, just something to hammer out, shove it in a mold, bake it, throw it out there, and almost with the expectation that Disney has that customers will eat it up. No matter what they shovel out, we'll eat it up. Uh, I don't know. I'm getting less and less interested in it, which for me begs the question, is Star Wars a dying franchise? Is it a dead franchise walking? Is it in some odd limbo state? I mean, given what Disney has shoveled out there, so to speak, one way to put it, I find myself less and less enthused about any movie or TV show announcement they have out there. It's nothing I can really find myself getting excited about. There's not much I look forward to in the realms of Star Wars, which for me is really unfortunate. I mean, I don't even have. I used to use the phrase hopium, like I hope something's good. I hope it doesn't suck. Running on hopium, so to speak. But I don't even have that. I think I've reached a. Well, I hate to think of myself being overly jaded and cynical, but I might have reached that point where Disney Star Wars is concerned. There's certainly, like I said, diminishing returns on the product. Uh, I don't have that same level of excitement. I don't have the same feelings I had when the first Star Wars came out in 1977, followed by Empires, followed by Return of the Jedi. That feeling I don't have for the new anything Disney is churning out now. It's just not there. Like a great many of us, we were somewhat optimistic when the news was announced that Disney was buying Star Wars from George Lucas. We thought, well, okay, that might be nice. That's probably a good home for Star Wars. I imagine Disney will do it right. Everybody had hope. Everybody was running on hopium. There was a level of excitement, a little bit of wonder, like what was Disney going to do? And then The Force Awakens came out, and it was like I was pretty well disgusted. I went to see it on not on opening night, but opening week with my friends at the time, and some of us were excited Star Wars nerds. Some of them were pretty regular normies, shall we say, non Star Wars super fans. But even them, even those who were regular normie types, they came away from it thinking, well, this is kind of like what we had saw in the first Star Wars movie in the late 70s. It's like nothing really new there. Nothing new or exciting. Let's see. Uh, it started me thinking, where was Star Wars headed? They kind of had a rocky start, but they could still course correct after that first movie. Then, of course, we had The Last Jedi, then the rise of, what was it? Palpatine. Oh, sorry, the rise of Skywalker. Much like Disney's other properties, like namely the MCU, I found myself thinking that perhaps Star Wars as a whole has run its course. For me, it's a decline in interest. It leads me to wonder how much longer Star Wars will be around as a viable franchise. Kind of parallels the MCU and where they're taking it. I'm seeing less and less excitement out there for anything news related. Anything that gets announced, it's like met with a ho hum instead of a hooray. Now, I'm not really going to lay out any kind of timeline I think might be out there for the ultimate demise of Disney Star Wars. I kind of think or kind of hope that there might be some course correction. I don't know. That's something that might be out there, maybe. I mean, ultimately, this is as far as course correction goes. I have no idea. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it in what few movies are out there that have been announced so far. I think they've taken what goodwill fans had toward them and just shot it. Man, I'm not seeing anything coming down the pipe that really gets me excited or gets me interested. I don't know if Disney will be able to gain back the audience they once had when fans of the beloved franchise would just show up en masse to a theater and catch anything nowadays. I mean, let alone back in the day when legions of fans would camp out just to get tickets or camp out in line waiting to see it. Those days, unfortunately, are probably long gone. Let's see, where did it start for me? The proverbial nail in the coffin for me was probably simply the Disney trilogy itself, followed by the TV shows. This combination of terrible writing, terrible pacing, conflicting directions, and tonal shifts from one movie to the next. The almost hateful attitude toward the fan base, poor character development and dynamics, the rise of the Mary Sue character we saw in Ray, along with their TV outings such as Mandalorian, Andor, Ahsoka, and then the Book of Boba Fett. I mean, those all drove home the fact that the people behind these shows and movies perhaps really didn't have much of an idea how to relate to the fans of the original trilogy. I mean, they didn't really produce anything even remotely coherent that could carry a narrative across the three movies. My interest waned steadily as the franchise kind of rambled along. Didn't really rise to any level of excitement I was hoping for. There were kernels, kernels of good ideas here and there, particularly in Ahsoka. There were things I kind of liked about Ahsoka. I mean, I hate to be all negative all the time, so I kind of look at bits and pieces of like bits and pieces of the Mandalorian that kind of liked, bits and pieces of the Ahsoka I kind of liked. Maybe bits and pieces of Book of Boba Fett I kind of liked, but overall, what I liked was outweighed by what I didn't like. It kind of goes back to that phrase, subverting expectations. That phrase was bandied about some years back. Some applied it to the last two seasons of Game of Thrones. Some applied it to Star Wars. And, well, like Game of Thrones and Star Wars, yeah, my expectations were subverted. I was expecting something good. My expectations were certainly subverted on that point. I mean, I can't really get over how far Star Wars under Disney has come. Let me check with the chat, see how everybody's doing. Again, I want to thank you all for joining me tonight as I take a look at where Star Wars, well, as I ramble on about where Star Wars is right now. I'm going to share with you all some articles I've come across today and a little bit earlier about where Star Wars might be headed. Kind of echoes my thoughts on the matter. Let's see. Killer Rabbit from Space. Coffee Crisp is one of my favorite chocolates. That's cool. Let's see. Yeah, until a Star Wars movie starts filming, I won't believe there'll be one anytime soon because they keep canceling every picture they announce. Exactly. I mean, over the past couple of weeks, it's been one announcement after another. Like, this movie project is canceled or it's delayed. Oh, it's been pushed back, whatnot. It's leaving fans who still care about Star Wars and kind of a limbo here. We don't know what's happening. We don't know what to expect. As I grab a quick drink here to wet my whistle. Yeah, we just don't know what's coming down the pipe, so to speak. And what they have announced isn't going to be for another year or so. Like I said, what can I say about TV shows like Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, Andor, Mandalorian? Everything I could ever say has been echoed by a great many other people, great many other fans who love the franchise, who grew up with it. You have Star Wars on VHS, you have Star Wars on DVD, you have it on Blu-ray, you might even have it on Laserdisc for you dedicated fans out there. You have it on Laserdisc. But yeah, it's no telling what is going to happen. With that, I'm going to jump right into the articles I want to share with you all as I continue my little diatribe here. Let's see. This from CBR. 10 signs Star Wars is a dying franchise. This is a couple of years back. This is December 11th of 2022. Despite numerous TV shows in the works and inevitable future film installments, Star Wars seems to be running itself aground. Star Wars is one of the greatest franchises in all of cinema history. Beginning in 1977 with Star Wars: A New Hope, George Lucas brought the story of Luke Skywalker to audiences, and film was never the same again. I mean, I really can't put into words the excitement I felt sitting in a cool, dark theater on a hot summer day, not knowing what to expect until the film started playing. And then it was like I was glued to it. It was unlike anything we had ever seen before. And like lightning, I don't think you can catch lightning in a bottle twice. That's kind of the impact Star Wars had on the culture. And 2012, as the article continues, Lucas sold the rights to Star Wars to Disney, which paved the way for the sequel trilogy. And Star Wars to feature at various Disney theme parks. However, as of late, the franchise seemed to be running out of steam. This from an article that, like I said, almost not quite 2 years ago, but it's pretty recent. Reason number 10, the sequel trilogy's reaction was not the best. With the while the sequel trilogy has its moments, it was not well received as a whole by many fans. Particularly the second movie, I'll just add, because The Last Jedi proved divisive. They brought The Force Awakens director J.J. Abrams back for The Rise of Palpatine, or The Rise of Skywalker, as they like to call it. Now, this is one of the points here you could say was where it started going off the rails, when you had competing directors, no clear game plan, no clear direction. And Rian Johnson, who directed The Last Jedi, even came out and said he wanted to make a divisive movie. Didn't care about the franchise, didn't care about the fans. He just wanted to make a divisive movie that would tick off at least half the audience. Well, congratulations, you did exactly that. You certainly achieved your goal in that regards. And J.J. Abrams didn't really do much better. Force Awakens was very simple. It was pretty much a rehash of what we had before. Rise of Skywalker was, I almost said, subverting expectations, but yeah, it was pretty bad. Star Wars game plan for releasing films has changed. Originally, Lucasfilm announced a ton of Star Wars movies released way back in 2020. Some of these films included Rogue Squadron, Rian Johnson's planned trilogy, and even a film developed by MCU executive producer Kevin Feige. Following the sequel trilogy, Disney pumped the brakes for the time being. The original Star Wars trilogy was the peak. Yeah. I mean, this was the peak trilogy for Star Wars. It was basic, simple storytelling. I mean, take it back down to its blocks, its roots, its basic good versus evil. You almost say a coming of age for Luke Skywalker as he went on his hero's journey from farm boy, naive, went through personal growth, learned responsibility and whatnot. I mean, there's so much that has been written about the arc, the character arc and development across these three films for all the characters. All the characters had a significant story arcs, character arcs, and development to them. And what did Disney give us? Cardboard cutouts, which is leading up to this next point here. No new characters can measure up to Luke, Han, and Leia. I kind of agree with that on one hand. On the other hand, I would disagree with this. You can have new characters that can measure up to Luke, Han, and Leia. It'll just be on their own merits, their own journey. But you're not going to have cardboard cutouts go through a rehash of the original trilogy and expect them to measure up to Luke, Han, and Leia. That's not going to happen. More releases means Star Wars is not as special as anymore. Yep. This is something I started feeling right when, a few years ago, when they started announcing one release after another. It started to make Star Wars feel like a product, a commodity. It's like, oh, here's the next movie we're going to pump out, and oh, here's a TV show we're going to pump out, and here's another TV show we're going to pump out. Oh, here's a slate of half dozen more movies on the horizon. We're going to be pumping out Star Wars movies, like 1-2 movies a year. Want to be great? Won't you love it? We'll put it out there, and you fans will eat it right up. You guys will enjoy it. Anybody enjoy it? I must have missed it. Disney Plus struggles to get viewers for some Star Wars shows. Yep. Some have been hit, some have been missed. Let's see. Andor, for instance, the show was hailed as one of the best pieces of Star Wars media ever, but did it have high viewership? But it did not have high viewership, and Disney had to widen its release to chase an audience. Does that mean that Star Wars does not hold the same interest as it used to? That's an interesting question there. If you make something good, you can create genuine excitement in the fan base. If you put out a mediocre product, you're not going to generate excitement in the fan base. I mean, it should be common sense, but common sense is not all that common anymore, I guess. Divisive fan base leads to more mixed projects. I don't know about that one. If you set out to make something that is divisive, then you are going to alienate your fan base. Let's see. The Last Jedi is a perfect example of this, arguably the most divisive entry of all the films. Many did not like it. Yep. George Lucas is no longer involved. Yep. When you pretty much, it's not just George Lucas. When you go in and ignore Lucas's inputs and then decanonize how many decades of expanded or extended universe novels, comic books out there, all the lore and canon, mainly from Timothy Zahn. If you want to mention any one writer who had a pretty big impact on the expanded lore of the Star Wars universe, it would be Timothy Zahn and his novels. But you go and ignore all that, then yeah. Let's see. The Skywalker saga commanded a lot of attention. That's true. I have heard people over the years say Star Wars was all about the Skywalkers, which is true. It was about Luke Skywalker and his family. Now, can you have Star Wars beyond the Skywalkers? Yes. The expanded universe is out there. There are a lot of characters out there. It is a character-rich environment. But like I said, when you ignore all the material out there and you strike out on your own, as Disney has, trying to put out their own product, it's going to be hit and miss. Mostly miss. Let's see. Rogue One was a big hit that did not involve the Skywalker family at all, but then Solo failed miserably. And I see in the chat, Killer Rabbit saying, Rogue One was the only Disney Star Wars movie that he really enjoyed. Yep, yep. I liked it for the most part. It was okay. It was kind of fun seeing bits and pieces of it. Let's see. Had tough competition with many other franchises. Oh, this bit's true. I mean, you are out there competing for movie theater seats and the ever shrinking dollar and a faltering economy, but that's a whole nother subject. Plus, in a way, you are competing with the MCU. See, Disney, in a way, is competing with itself. It's competing with another one of its properties, the MCU, which is also going through its own decline. So let's see. Going to kind of spring from one article to the other. I don't want to spend a lot of time on some of these. Let's see here. That was the wrong button. How about that? There we go. Soka. What is this? This is 34th Street. An article on that. This was not too long ago, October 6th of 2023. Ahsoka is a symptom of a dying franchise. The newest entry in the Star Wars universe continues an anti-art trend in the galaxy far, far away. It took Disney 10 years to kill Star Wars. Star Wars, one of the most legendary franchises of all time. Imagine telling your 8-year-old self that one day a new Star Wars TV show would be released every couple of months. And not only would no one care, but the shows would be mocked and reviled. The summer's release of Ahsoka, the latest Star Wars TV show, demonstrates just how far the once great franchise has fallen. Now, I actually did review Ahsoka. I watched it. Oh, goodness, that was painful. As I had commented when Ahsoka was around, I made the comment that I don't want to be down on Disney all the time. I actually would like to be at a point where I could cheer Disney on, that I would like to be able to champion Disney on, and like I'd like to be able to hop on a live stream and say, "Oh, look at this new Disney TV show that they're pumping out. Isn't it great? This is a fantastic Star Wars TV show." But it's getting harder and harder to do that because of what Disney is producing. It's getting harder to champion or cheer on a product that is just so bad. It's written so badly, so dull, so painfully dull. The writing, the characterizations, the character development just isn't there, or wasn't there, rather. The plot was pretty bad. That's just Ahsoka. I don't even want to get into Book of Boba Fett. Let's see. Skipping down some. Take A New Hope, for example, as this article says. It's about the universal feeling of wanting to leave home in search of something greater. The natural forces that unite all living things. George Lucas's love for the films of Sergio Leone, John Ford, and Akira Kurosawa, how political revolution can be sparked through small actions. And finally, the idea that no matter how strong and powerful evil seems, good will always prevail in the end. Conversely, if we look at basically every Star Wars TV show or film since then, it's hard to read any greater theme into them. They've become commoditized. They've become products. It's like, oh, there's a new Star Wars movie, Rogue One, Solo, Rise of Skywalker, Force Awakens. Oh, there's a new TV show, Andor, Mandalorian, the Babysitter, what have you. It's oh, and then the animated shows like Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars Clone Wars, so on and so on. Let's see, last paragraph on this article. And yet, it's still Star Wars, a franchise that symbolized hope and goodness for so many around the world, and spawned some of the most famous characters in history. I mean, let's face it, everyone knows who Luke, Han, and Leia are. They know who C3PO and R2D2 are. They certainly know who Darth Vader is. At this point, as the article continues, after 11 movies and 9 TV shows, the majority of which are bad, part of being a Star Wars fan is experiencing the disappointment of new Star Wars. Nevertheless, it's still the franchise that I will keep watching until it eventually runs its course. Yeah, that kind of echoes how I feel about it. I'll keep track of it. I may not watch any of it, but I'll keep track of it, running on hopium, hoping it gets better, or hoping that there's something out there that will turn it around, that'll give it a course correction. And then the very last sentence of this article, but if Ahsoka is a preview of what's to come, the end may be sooner than any of us expect. I'm kind of paraphrasing there. Let's see. Getting back into the movies themselves, upcoming movie projects, rumor. This is comicbookmovie.com. This was January 12th of this year, so not too long ago, about a little over a month ago. Daisy Ridley's Star Wars New Jedi Order movie may not have a completed script, or a writer, or a set movie date, or even come out at all. I mean, who knows? The latest update doesn't sound promising, but lines up with comments made by Rey actress Daisy Ridley last year, which saw her confirm she's yet to read a script. Simply because they don't have one. I know the storyline for the film. I'm genuinely surprised that there's a storyline for it, but yeah, that's not to say that that's all it is, but that's what I was told about. So yeah, not getting excited here. I mean, we don't know we know where they are coming from. We know what they've churned out so far, but what's around the corner, we don't know, because here's a Den of Geek article. Upcoming Star Wars movies and TV series release date schedule. Now this, I read up through this earlier, and it's pretty interesting. Every Star Wars movie and TV series currently in development, from the new Rey and James Mangold movies to Ahsoka and Mandalorian season 4. Oh joy. There has never been a better time to be a Star Wars fan in terms of quantity. And I'm stressing this one word, quantity, because when you're churning out product, you don't care about quality. And that's my little ad right there. Let's see here. The Grogu Show, some call it The Mandalorian. Release date 2026. Not later 2024, not early 2025, but 2026. Director Jon Favreau, which I'm honestly surprised that Jon Favreau is still attached to Disney, let alone anything Disney Star Wars. I wanted to like Mandalorian. I thought it had a really good first episode, but then it became Mandalorian the Babysitter, and then Mandalorian the Bo-Katan Show. Then for a short period of time, it was Mandalorian the Grogu Show. It is a show that has moved further and further away from the title character. So I'm not enthused about it. I imagine in 2 years, the big question will be, will anybody care about it? I mean, that is a particularly long time to go, and fan interest will drop off a cliff. Let's see. Untitled Rey Skywalker movie to be announced. We've got a director attached to it. We've got a writer. I have not looked up to see if this writer's still attached to it. I'm pretty certain the director is still attached to it, but this is telling. This could be 2025, could be 2026, it could even be 2027, if it happens at all. Let's see, skipping down. Untitled James Mangold movie, also to be announced. Movie is set 25,000 years before the events of the Skywalker saga and tracks the origin of the Jedi. Oh, that's a pretty heady concept. Oh boy. Where does the Force come from? When did we discover it? When did we know how to use it? Pretty sure all that's been touched on in some novels, I'm pretty certain. Untitled New Republic movie. Again, we're seeing TBA. I don't care about Dave Filoni. I don't care about his take on Star Wars. Oh, hello, Dad Man. Hi there. Hope you're doing well tonight. Thank you for popping in. As I ramble on about the future question mark of Star Wars. Again, we have the untitled Taika Waititi Star Wars movie, which I hope never gets made. I pretty much strongly dislike everything I've seen that Taika has produced. And he can just go away. He can go find some other franchise to get into. This is not a resounding endorsement right here. This is Taika's approach to Star Wars will be fresh, unexpected, and ... unique, said Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy in a statement in 2020. Oh, I'm sure it'll be unique. That's one word. Yes, I saw Star Wars. Yeah. Those of us who are of a certain age group, we saw Star Wars in a theater way back when Star Wars was a legend. Back when it was amazing. Those words will not describe anything Disney is churning out. Let's see. Lando movie. I have zero interest in that. Again, we're seeing a lot of TBA here. We're seeing to be announced or to be determined. I'm going to skip over that because I don't care. Untitled Sean Levy movie. Again, TBA. Deadpool 3 director Sean Levy is working on a Star Wars movie. Although we don't know when we might actually see this one. I've been talking with Kathleen Kennedy for a while now, and she's been aware of my passion for the franchise for a long time. The stars finally aligned. She came to me and was like, let's do something here. Yay. I'll try to contain my excitement. Yawn. Anyway, now we're going into the upcoming TV shows. After the success of The Mandalorian, that's an interesting word to use with The Mandalorian. It would come as no surprise that there are way more Star Wars TV series coming to Disney Plus. I'll be genuinely surprised. Oh, yes, The Bad Batch, or otherwise known as the Omega TV show. Because we introduce a character or a team of characters and they get subverted by one lone kid. But yay, whatever. The Acolyte. Oh, here's a set date. I didn't know this. Summer of 2024. Leslie Headland, showrunner. We got let's see. Carrie Ann Moss, Dean Charles Chapman, Amandla Stenberg, Lee Jung Jae. Man, I don't know anything about these people, but okay, sure. Okay, they don't even have the Old Republic. They have the High Republic. Disney can't even use anything from the lore from the books or the novels, that anything that's come out before. They have to come up with their own takes on what others have created. Will this be good? I don't know. I have no expectations that this will be any good. Let's see. Skeleton Crew. Oh, again, 2024. That's something solid. And we've got some executive producers attached with it. We have Judd Law attached to it. Jaleel White. Jaleel blah blah blah. Jaleel White. Kind of know a couple of those names. You know very little about this series, except that it stars Judd Law and centers around a group of kids. Oh yeah, a kids show. Same era, set in the same era as Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and the Book of Boba Fett. Star Wars kids lost in space. That's what I'm getting here. Yay. We're back to TBA here. Ahsoka Season 2 to be announced. Dave Filoni, don't care. After Season 1, I just don't care. Andor Season 2. Andor wasn't bad. In parts. I didn't hate it. Let's see. Again, we're back to TBA. We've got a showrunner. We've got a cast. The second and final season of Andor is currently in production. Okay, well, that's interesting. It will once again consist of 12 long, boring episodes, with each 3-episode arc chronicling a year in Cassian's life that in the lead up to the events of Rogue One, which is in itself a lead up to Star Wars. Yay. Oh, a droid story to be announced. Animated TV will follow C-3PO. This was a comic book. Come on. I remember this comic book. Dad Man saying Ahsoka was just bad television just bad. Oh, yes, it was bad on so many levels. I wanted to defend it. I wanted to like it. I liked the casting in it. I liked the actors in it. It was just the writing, the pacing, the direction, everything else, some character motivation. It was just generally bad. It had like a kernel of a good idea, a kernel of a good idea that could have developed. Yeah, even though Rogue One was good, it blew up the lore in several ways. Yes. Yep. It was pretty bad. What we're getting from Disney, Lucasfilm Disney, it's like let's see. Oh, again, let's see. What is this? This is Total Film, February 9th of this year. And here's the lowdown of all the new Star Wars movies coming our way over the next few years. Yes. Music was non existent, plot pointless, slow, and just bad. And Ahsoka was too angry. She had two phases. It was either angry or being stoic to the point of being wooden. Or she had her arms crossed, being stoic, or looking at something or someone being stoic. Stoic to the point of being a tree. Like you could say, oh, here's your a little Ahsoka bonsai tree. Be sure to water it or it'll get angry and stare at you with its limbs folded or what have you. Now, that's just me trying to make a bad analogy. And I don't watch Rebels to figure out what the series was saying. Yeah, it was a TV show that required homework. It was Dave Filoni saying, to get what's going on in this TV show, you have to go back and watch a little bit of Rebels, maybe a little bit of Clone Wars, and then you'll be able to understand what's going on. But yeah, a TV show that's not self-contained, that requires non-fans to do homework to figure things out, and not everybody is into animated TV shows. Not there. I know there are a lot of people out there who don't like cartoons, or they'll just look at animated TV shows like, oh, well, that's a cartoon. Yeah, I don't really care about cartoons, and they just won't bother with it. But yeah, that's okay. To each their own. Okay. This article is going to be, as I was reading through this article earlier, it's going to be much like the last article I covered. Let's see, there are tons, as it says, tons of Star Wars movies and TV shows on the way. At least they're giving us fair warning. There's a Mandalorian movie in the works. Mandalorian the Babysitter. Yay. Ahsoka the Stoic Season 2 has also been confirmed. Yay. Keep my feet from dancing. Everything from the Acolyte to a Rey movie. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. New Star Wars movies release dates. Again, there we go. 2026, 2026, 2027. Far out there enough for normies to lose interest and fans to be disenfranchised fully. The Mandalorian and Grogu show are headed to the big screen. Nobody knows why. Arriving in 2026. A new Rey movie, which may or may not happen. I will be genuinely surprised if this happens, and I will be genuinely surprised if it has something resembling a plot. Oh, I see. Damon Lindelof and The Strain, executive story editor Justin Britt Gibson. I did not care for The Strain. I watched it, but just did not get into it, didn't care for it. So, yeah, he's attached to it. He's attached to it. She just will not go away. James Mangold, Star Wars movie, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he's wanting to go back 25,000 years earlier and find out where the Force came from. Oh, that's nice. Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie, so do not care. This guy should just go away. Find some stupid comedy to make and leave Star Wars and Marvel MCU. Just go away. Sean Levy Star Wars movies, release date unknown. What was up here? Release date unknown. So this is Lando. See the trend here? Release date unknown. They're throwing stuff out there to see what will get interest. Oh, yay. This will be thoroughly fantastic. If this Yahoo gets his trilogy, yeah. I can't even put how I feel about that into words. So we'll get more of what he did for The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi, shall we say, divisive among Star Wars faithful. Divisive. That's ever so nice way to put it. Let's see. Dadman saying supposedly Pedro Pascal isn't going to be in the Mandalorian movie. I heard that rumor like a few days ago. That's going to be interesting. When you have a Mandalorian TV show and your lead actor, title, character, actor is not going to be in it. It'll just be the Grogu movie or the Bo-Katan movie. I mean, they've slowly made the Mandalorian. They shifted away from what made it really fun and interesting to anything and everything but the Mandalorian. And yeah, Taika Waititi ruined Ragnarok. And I see DJ Ronnie G. Hello. Very cool to see you here. Thanks for joining us tonight. Canceled. Oh, here we go. Canceled Star Wars movies. Rogue Squadron. Back in 2020, Disney announced Wonder Woman 1984 Helmer Patty Jenkins was expected to take the reins on the next Star Wars movie in production titled Star Wars Rogue Squadron. But Variety reports the film is no longer in active development, meaning it's most likely dead in the water. It was first delayed, reportedly due to creative differences between Patty Jenkins and Lucasfilm. Yes. Separate Star Wars report from Vanity Fair then said Star Wars is further off than Taika's movie. Yeah, just like whatever. Don't care. Kevin Feige's Star Wars movie, that was canceled, apparently. Marvel Mastermind. Kevin Feige had reportedly been brought on board to help shape the future of Star Wars. So on and so on. I wonder. I wonder if the firing of Gina Carano affected some of these canceled movies. That is an interesting thing to think about. It's like they might have had, at one point, Jon Favreau might have had a game plan that involved Gina Carano, and then she was dismissed unceremoniously, and that kind of derailed whatever he was working on. I imagine. Let's see. Then there were Game of Thrones showrunners Benioff and Weiss, who were originally meant to spearhead a trilogy, but were reportedly too busy making shows for Netflix after signing a 9-figure deal with the streaming service in 2019. Yeah, well, after they rushed through the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, that's probably a good thing. Any more Star Wars story movies? Book of Boba Fett, don't care. Obi-Wan Kenobi, certainly don't care. Oh, we got Skeleton Crew, Star Wars Kids Lost in Space. Oh, and Dead Man. Actually, I thought this one got canceled. This Rogue One could have been good if done right. Yeah. Yeah, I know I've seen Rogue One, and I remember bits and pieces of it. I kind of remember it in, like I said, bits and pieces. I kind of remember kind of enjoying it overall. But yeah, if Lucasfilm had any direction, The Acolyte, release date 2024. So sometime this year we'll see The Acolyte, whether we want to or not. Okay, let me skim these paragraphs here. The Acolyte will be set 100 years before the Phantom Menace and the High Republic era. Not the Old Republic, but the High Republic. And will be the franchise's first Sith-focused story. The show will be a mystery thriller. Oh boy. That will say a former Padawan and her old Jedi Master on the case of a string of crimes, which leads them to encountering sinister forces. Okay, so it's a murder mystery, crime thriller. They'll throw in a fetch quest and mystery box for good measure. Carrie Ann Moss. Okay, that's kind of interesting. And let's see. Lee confirmed he's playing a Jedi Master. Playing a Wookiee there. Okay, that's nice. Teaser is also revealed, which opened on young Padawans being trained by Jedi. So Carrie Ann Moss wielding the Force, and lots of Jedi with lightsabers drawn to end the footage. That's nice. Moving right along. Tales of the Jedi Season 2. Haven't even seen Season 1, but oh well. This is released sometime this year. Oh, Dave Filoni. Yay. I'll contain my excitement. Bad Batch Season 3, otherwise known as the Omega Show. Andor Season 2. Season 1 of Andor wasn't terribly bad. It was just kind of long and drawn out. It seemed kind of boring at points. The Grogu Show Season 4. Oh boy, so we're getting a Grogu Mandalorian movie and Season 4. Okay, it's currently unclear if the Mandalorian Season 4 will actually happen. It's reportedly still happening alongside the movie, though another report cast doubt on this. That's nice. And somehow Jon Favreau is still attached to Disney. Sometimes I find myself wanting to say, come on, John, you're too good for Disney. Your talents, efforts could be used elsewhere. There's some other property out there that could use your talents and abilities. Let's see. But when Hollywood came to a halt, Lucasfilm pivoted to a movie, leaving Season 4's future in doubt. Before the strike shut down, Season 4 was written and ready to go. That's nice. Confusingly, one of Din Djarin's physical performers, Brendan Wayne, said in November 2023 that the fourth installment was being ramped up. Aha. Ahsoka Season 2, because we got to continue on the incredibly boring adventures of the stoic non-Jedi Master. I can't say anything more about Season 1 of Ahsoka that I haven't already said. That so many other people haven't already echoed, or it's just so bad. Star Wars: A Droid Story, release date unknown. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, exciting. Are you excited for Star Wars? Are you like me, trying to contain your excitement for a galaxy far, far away, anything coming out down the pipe? Let's see. What else do I have article-wise? Dun, dun, dun. Oh, yes. Oh, I got a good laugh out of this, because this leads up to the last good laugh of the evening before I draw tonight to a close. This was all the way back in August 6th of 2020. I came across this article and I just started laughing. Netflix wants their Star Wars or any PG family-friendly franchise. Yep, back when, I think this goes back, 2016, 2017, Netflix, I want to say, had an interest in getting their hooks in the Star Wars pie even before 2020. They wanted a piece of the action. They were wanting to dig in as well. Movie studio wants something with mass appeal that covers 4 quadrants. Let's see. It may not seem like news, but it captured headlines all over. Netflix is looking for its Star Wars, something that can capture the hearts and minds of people of all ages, spin-off toys, and gather multiple sequels, building out a huge universe. Last sentence here. I truly cannot wait to see how Netflix makes someone's dream come true and inspires the next generation. Just nothing really to this article. It's just Netflix hoping to get a piece of the Star Wars action. Yeah, here it is. Here's the big joke right here. What did Netflix get when they couldn't get Star Wars? When Netflix couldn't get Star Wars or a piece of the Star Wars action, that's right, Rebel Moon. uh, yeah, yeah. That's it. That's the future of Star Wars right there. Something so bland and derivative. How'd that work out for you, Netflix? Do you think that went over well, Netflix? uh, how's that for ending the stream tonight's show on a good laugh? Yeah, tonight wasn't really going to be a long live stream. I knew this was going to go quick. I'm going to take this awful image off and go back to yeah, there it is. That's how I really feel. Yeah. End the show on a good laugh. Rebel Moon, the future of Star Wars. There it is right there. DJ Ronnie G saying, I'm glad that I barely watch any new stuff. Oh, I know it. I've got a nice big selection of movies and TV shows on my DVD shelf. Almost goes from the floor to the ceiling. If I want something I enjoy, I'll just walk over and grab like Babylon 5 or Farscape or Dark Matter uh, or any other number of TV shows, movies I have. I'll just plop it in the player and watch away and enjoy it. Yeah, new stuff out there just isn't cutting it. Nice. That's how I feel about Trek. Yeah, Star Trek. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Star Trek was also good back in the day. I mean, we had the original series, we had the movies with the original cast. Next gen, I liked some next gen, but not all next gen. I think maybe perhaps Star Trek has also run its course. I'm not a really big Trekkie or Trekker or whatever Star Trek fans call themselves. I'm more of a Star Wars fan or sci-fi fantasy. I like science fiction, hard science fiction, but I'll also go to sci-fi fantasy like Star Wars. 10 more hours, Killer Rabbit. Someday, Killer Rabbit, I might work up to getting caffeinated enough where I can go more than 3 hours at a stretch. Yeah, I will work up to a point like that. I don't know. You basically mourned Star Trek last year. I mean, yeah, I'm guessing Star Trek Picard didn't do it for you, or Star Trek Discovery didn't do it for you. It didn't do it for me either. Let's see. DJ saying he started on TNG. Yeah, yeah, there were some good episodes. The episodes I enjoyed from TNG were the ones that had no follow up on, like the conspiracy episodes, like 2 or 3 episodes where they had the little bug like creatures that were slowly spreading through the Federation, kind of taking over people, wanting to take over the Federation. Yeah, 2 episodes of that, and it was over and done with. There was the episode where they encountered an alien probe, and Barclay was supercharged, or so to speak, and he took control of the Enterprise and moved them to the center of the galaxy where they met the Cytherians, a super race in the Star Trek universe that gave them all kinds of advanced knowledge and whatnot. One episode, and there's never been any follow up of that. Yeah, Dad made. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then TOS reruns from marathon VHS recordings. Yep, yep. It's so good that we have TOS around on Blu-ray and 4K and all that we can just enjoy over and over again. Star Trek fans call themselves nerds. Nerds. Yeah, seriously. Yep. Let's see. Season 1 finale. Yeah, yeah. Barkley episode was crazy. Yes. And they never those episodes and the standalone ones like that, I believe I've heard them referred to as bottle episodes because they're like just in a bottle. There's like 5, maybe 6 episodes like that where they touch on something and there is zero follow-up. There has been zero follow-up of any of those plot lines. Not just the Q, because the Q has kind of run its course, but there are other super beings, super races in the Star Trek universe besides the Q, besides the Cytherians, that they never explore, because if they did explore them, I think you would see Star Trek slowly, dangerously become like Babylon 5. Babylon 5 wasn't afraid to tackle like, oh, here are the races that kind of that are out there in the universe, out there in the galaxy, and they're fighting and whatnot. And then, oh yeah, there's these super advanced races that kind of people just stay away from, like the Vorlons, the Shadows, the first ones, the Ancients, uh, the ones that nobody else really talks about because they kind of scared of them. It's like, yeah, you don't want to mess with the Vorlons. You don't want to mess with the Shadows. Star Trek, it could be like, oh, you don't want to mess with the Q. You don't want to mess with the Cytherians. You don't want to mess with any number of super entities or super advanced races. No, Star Trek never touches on that. They never have touched on any of that, and I think it's ripe for storytelling. If they ever did a future Star Trek TV show that did explore that unexplored area of races, it would be really interesting. Again, it would probably be, in my mind, something similar to Babylon 5, or maybe even something like Farscape, because there's more to the universe and Star Trek besides the Klingons, the Romulans, the Borg, the Q, whatever. It's played out. They need fresh ideas to expand Star Trek. Yeah, that was a cool brain. Yeah, the neural net interface. He went to the holodeck and asked the computer, assemble neural net interface. And the computer said, there's no such uh, thing in the library. And he said, fine, here's how you make it. That was a great episode. Dead man, need to go to sleep. That's cool. Well, thanks for joining me tonight. No worries. Have a good night. Very cool, dead man. Catch you later. Yeah. The race explored the universe by drawing other races to them. Oh, you mean like the human race in Star Trek? Yeah, that's true. And if you had one consistent race in the Star Trek universe that everything revolved around, it would be humans, because humans started Starfleet started the Federation. Yep. There's a B5 episode where Kosh entered the room, and a few seconds later, the ship outside the window blows up. Oh, yes, yes, I remember that one. That was if it's the one I'm thinking of, it was a season 1 episode where uh, you had one alien come aboard claiming to know the secret to immortality, and she was going to sell her secrets to basically the highest bidder. So you had all the alien governments trying to vie for that, and you had somebody, I think, win out. It might have been Earth Force, either Earth Force or the Centauri, one of them. And as the alien left the station, Kosh's cruiser came out of hyperspace through the jump gate and blew her ship up. And when they asked Kosh why he killed the alien, he said, "Because you all are not ready for immortality." And that was pretty deep. Now, Babylon 5 was a pretty deep show. It was not like Star Trek. Well, not like anything really that was out there on TV at the time. Yep, yep. They used Barclay to bring the ship to them. Yes, yeah. The Cytherian probe that they encountered at that one Starfleet array or orbiting station or whatever that they're trying to repair before it destroyed itself or something. That one probe kind of altered Barclay, and he was able to basically made him super smart, like gave him the secrets of the universe. So he uh, created a way for the Enterprise to jump to the center of the galaxy to meet the Cytherians, bring the ship to them instead of the Cytherians going around the galaxy. And that godlike race did that to the other species. Yep. Correct. Regarding that Babylon 5 episode. Indeed. Season 1. Yeah. Yep. Bingo on immortality. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I was an executive in TV, if I ever had a chance to take my creative swing at Star Trek, I think I would create a Star Trek TV show that happened in the non J.J. Abrams Star Trek universe. I would take it. I would make it right after the events of TNG. Set it in that timeline. Not have Picard or anybody in it. I would have like a crew on a advanced Starfleet ship, deep space explorer ship, a crew comprised of uh, every member race, like Klingons, Romulans, humans, Andorians, whoever, whatever. Basically, have a ship exploring the deep reaches of space, looking for those super races. Maybe invite a member of the Q Continuum on board to sometimes pop in and advise the captain of the ship to go, oh, if you want to find this super race, go here. If you want to find that super race, go there. Now, it'd probably be weird for Star Trek. It'd probably be a little bit too deep because what I'm seeing Star Trek wise over the past 10 or so years, Star Trek is not deep. Star Trek was deep. Star Trek TOS, that was deep. That made you think. that presented you with moral dilemmas and quandaries, kind of held a mirror up to society and gave you morality tales and whatnot. But ever since TNG, I think Star Trek has de-evolved to uh, pew pews of the week and the big bad of the week. It's not about exploring your being. It's not about exploring deeper issues. And since Star Trek has always had a humanist bent to it, they probably won't explore spiritual beliefs or issues. Well, I think they did touch on that on one episode of TNG where Picard and crew were following an archaeologist on a dig site or someplace, and they found there was Starfleet, some Klingons, and maybe a few Romulans at a archaeological dig, and they found remnants of an ancient civilization. And it kind of pondered, well, the idea or the notion of, gee, why are all the races out here that are super advanced bipedal? And they kind of find remnants of an ancient race that was kind of an ancestor to all the other races out there. I forget what that was. Catching up with the chat here. Be okay with a post Voyager continuation. Yeah, they need to do something. Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, they could do something post TNG, post Voyager. Get something interesting. All kinds of new technology. Yeah. If you ever looked, for the fans out there who've ever looked at a Star Trek map of the universe and see the areas that have been divided up between. Let's me do this and get rid of that little graphic there because I'm past that now. I'm back into the rambling stage of my live stream. Yeah, if you ever looked at a map of the Star Trek universe, the galaxy, you see the dividing lines for the Klingon Empire, the Romulan Star Empire, the Quadrant or the Borgar, and depending on who makes the map, it could be a lot of the space has been explored and mapped out, or it could be a very small portion of the galaxy has been explored and mapped out. I don't think I've ever seen anything concrete. Yes, yeah, clearly not the prime timeline. It's a timeline that really could just go away. They lied when they released Star, what I like to call Star TP. I think I got that from Overlord DVD. Star TP. Not him, it was somebody else that coined that term. But they meant after the J.J. Kelvin scene, yeah, the time travel. That could be it. That could be what I'm thinking of. That one TNG episode with the progenitor race. Yeah. Oh, goodness. Can we stop and take a moment to consider all the things that J.J. Abrams have ruined just by touching or giving his involvement in? He's ruined Star Trek. He's ruined Star Wars. It's like, okay, whatever franchises out there, what other franchises out there that he can go to and ruin? Let's see, DJ Ronnie G. I'm actually really glad at the episode of TNG because at least explains, yes, that's what I remember. It's like, yeah, why are all the advanced races bipedal? It's kind of, I'm glad that Farscape moved away from that because, oh man, you want to talk about a crazy sci-fi TV show? Farscape was out there. Yes, yes. Some races have extra nostrils and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah. Mourning for Trek. Yeah. Oh goodness. Now moving away from uh one dying franchise to another. I mean, we're getting us we fans can count on our hands the number of franchises that have died over the past 15 years. Doctor Who is dead. I mean, that has thoroughly been trounced. Star Trek is dying. Star Wars is dying. Indiana Jones possibly dead. I don't know if anybody cares about Indiana Jones anymore. I mean, that's the big ones. That's the big ones for our entertainment, isn't it? Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars, Indiana Jones. What other big I can't think of any other big franchises that have had such a big cultural impact besides those. And it's kind of sad in a way that to really enjoy what we enjoy for entertainment, we have to go back to physical media from like 30, 40, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, whatever, and plop in something on our Blu-ray players and look at this episode. Oh yeah, that was a fun episode. There's nothing new out there that is really catching my attention. That's why I always keep mentioning Babylon 5 or I keep mentioning Farscape. I'll even mention Dark Matter. That was a great series. 3 seasons. Unfortunately, ended on a cliffhanger. We may get more Babylon 5. There was scuttle about J. Michael Straczynski working on a new Babylon 5 series. The last Babylon 5 movie that was released a few months back, the animated Babylon 5 movie, was kind of a soft reboot. So it was a nice soft reboot to reintroduce the Babylon 5 universe. Yes, that's it. Let's see. I'm glad they sold Babylon 5 on Blu-ray. Yep. Before that, yeah. I have the Babylon 5 on DVD, but when I was trying to rewatch it last year, some of my DVDs stopped working. It was kind of odd. I guess over time DVDs just stop. So I'm going to have to get the Blu-ray series. I'll catch it on sale. The Road Home. Yes, that's it. It was quite well done. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, The Road Home. That was a nice soft reboot of the B5 universe. I mean, I quite enjoyed B5, how it started. Season 1 was rough. That's the common complaint I keep hearing from people who are new to Babylon 5 or have never seen it. Even still, there are people who don't know Babylon 5 exists. And they go, I couldn't get into season 1. That's kind of weird. That's kind of out there. And I tell them, okay, well, just hit the highlights of season 1, then go straight to season 2. Because once you get into season 2 of B5, man, that show takes off. They basically zoomed in on the low res Amiga footage and made it fit. Oh, they made it widescreen. I would have been okay if they had left it in the box format, the 4/3 format. I would have been okay if they had just did that. I don't need everything widescreen, especially from that era. Oh, that's unfortunate. VHS version actually had better quality for those scenes. Yeah. The funny thing is, I was at a anime convention. Oh goodness, years and years back. I was at an anime convention in North Texas, and one of the panels I caught was a panel put on by Ron Thornton. Ron Thornton was the special effects person behind Babylon 5. And it was really interesting listening to him talk about all that they went through with Babylon 5 and its production. And of course, I had to ask him, well, do you think your TV show Hypernauts will ever be released on physical media? And it's like, at the time, you didn't know. Um, I think he passed away some time ago, unfortunately. It was like so many people behind Babylon 5 or on Babylon 5, we've seen a number of them pass on, unfortunately, which is to be expected. That show was 30 years ago. But the reboot, what J. Michael Straczynski's planning on doing with the reboot Babylon 5, now that he has access to more up to date computer CGI and whatnot, it should be really interesting. It's one of the few reboots or remakes I'm looking forward to. Otherwise, I'd be dead set against a reboot. But as long as JMS is involved directly with it, as long as he has a say in what happens on it, I'm looking forward to it. That could be the only show I'm looking forward to a reboot of. Let's see. The streaming remaster and the Blu-rays are 4:3 aspect. Okay, the four Blu-rays are 4:3. Okay, that's good. Let's see. Still proper full HD. That's good. Yes. Oh, good to hear. Okay. So I'm looking forward to getting the Blu-ray set to replace my aging DVDs. I remember Babylon 5 coming out and trying to find Babylon 5 on physical media at that time. Nobody had it. I even went to like the Warner Brothers store in the local mall at the time, and was like, "Hey, do you guys know anything about Babylon 5? If it's going to be released on DVD or VHS or anything?" And they had absolutely no idea what I was talking about. But I think they eventually released it. I forget how long it took them. Let's see. I think they rescanned the film or something. That's cool. So I imagine they did something like they did with Star Trek TOS. They went back and uh, rescanned it, cleaned it up, buffed up the special effects, added a few scenes because I've seen some of the new buffed up scenes on some TOS episodes, and it really adds something to it. I think it kind of makes it look neat. So I'm looking forward to catching that. That's definitely one of my all-time favorite sci-fi TV shows. I do have the Blu-ray box set for Farscape, another show I can just ramble on and on about because that's easily one of my favorites. Well, it competes with Babylon 5 in my book. If I were to say in my top 5, Babylon 5 and Farscape would compete for number 1, then I'd have to like figure out some others for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's see. They didn't exactly redo the visual effects they did for TOS, but Babylon 5 already had good. Yeah, yeah. Some nerds who hold 3D model file. Yeah, it's amazing what they did. I was listening to Ron Thornton talk about all they did for the visual effects on Babylon 5. They didn't have networked computers, so they had what he called sneaker net. You pulled a floppy out of one computer and you walked over to another computer and put the floppy disk in so they could load the model files into that computer and work on it. Yeah, it was crazy what all they did. They've been rendering the ships. Yeah, because there's been like 30 some odd years of CGI advancement easily. And even then, I don't mind the visual effects on the show. I think it held up pretty well considering the age of the Amigas and the, what was it, Lightwave 3D. I forget the software they used for it, Lightwave or Lightworks or something. Because nowadays it's a handful, like Maya 3D or what have you. Yeah, Lightwave. Yep. They had SGI computers. Yep. Oh yeah. I remember Maya too. Yeah, I played with the software some, then realized, oh, I can't, I don't have the patience to deal with computer animation, sitting in front of a computer for long periods of time. That was 10. Yeah, yeah, 486 file server. Man, those were the days when we had 486s running Windows 3.1 and DOS. Then then the Pentium came out and like, oh, everybody was blown away by the Pentium. Then it was the Pentium 2, there was a Cyrix, there was an AMD processor. Yeah, I had no patience for proper 3D modeling or CAD. Yeah. I understand how AutoCAD works in theory, but did not enjoy typing numbers for hours. Yep. I just got my Pentium era PDA to play movies. oh, oh, that poor Pentium. Making that poor processor churn away at those numbers, crunch those numbers, crunch that frame rate. Oh, yeah, those were the days. Pentium era. Pentium PDA. Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. I think somewhere in a closet, I may still have a Pentium 2 computer, bits and pieces of it. I've got a number of old modems sitting around, like a 33.6 modem or 56K modem. Oh, what's this? MIPS R400 clone by NEC, the V4111. Okay. Running at a blistering 69 megahertz with 16 megabytes of RAM. Wowee. Shared by Windows CE 2.11. Yeah. Best modem was a 33.6. Yeah. The 56 modem makers were quick to build those crappy soft modems. Yep. That's when I learned about going from hopping from a 33.6 modem. I looked for the hardware 56K modems. Yep. US Robotics fee something or other. They made a 56K modem that was all hardware. So those few geeky nerds at the time that weren't running Windows or Mac OS would be able to have a 56K modem for their, I don't know, Linux distribution box or whatever they were running at the time, whatever oddball OS was around. Yeah, business grade card really outperformed my 56K. Yeah. I seem to remember something like being able to put two 56K modems in a computer and having like a super speed 56, or I forget what they called that. I don't think it caught on because around that period of time, dial up was slowly being replaced by cable modems. ISDN lines, 56Ks, T1s, all that was soon replaced by DSL and then cable, which was mind blowing because there we were on our 56K. And then I go to a friend's house and there he was downloading stuff just super fast. I asked him, well, what are you on? I said, I'm on a cable modem. Like, oh, get out of here. I couldn't wrap my mind around that. That's crazy. Of course, now we can do the same thing using a hotspot on our cell phone. Like, oh, let me hop on my cell phone, you turn its hotspot on, and I can just wirelessly connect my laptop. And like, how far we've come from those days to where we are now. Mind blowing. Let's see. I have been rambling on now, not quite 2 hours. I think I'm going to wrap it up pretty soon before I really start to drag. I can feel the caffeine starting to wear off. What do I want to do? Yeah, I want to go back to this. Let's see. I want to say hi to everyone that joined me tonight. Appreciate you guys all showing up. Let's see. Killer Rabbit from Space. Hello. Thank you for joining me tonight. Very cool. And Dad Man Walking. You also showed up. Let's see. Who else as I'm scrolling down? Killer Rabbit. DJ Ronnie G. Let's see. Scrolling. Let's see who else popped in. Killer Rabbit, Dad Man, DJ Ronnie G. Am I imagining it, or was somebody else in the chat? No, I believe that covers it. Let's see. Yep. Very cool. Great show. Thank you. Hope I've kept everybody interested. I don't like talking about things like this because, like I said early on in tonight's stream, I'd much rather be excited that Disney's putting out something fantastic. I'd like to say, I'd like to hop on a live stream and say, oh, did you guys catch this new Star Wars show from Disney's, this such and such? It's fantastic. One of the best TV shows I've ever seen. But that's sadly, unfortunately, not what we're getting. And all of us that do this, we all do the same thing. We look at what Disney's doing and we just scratch our collective heads and go, why Disney? Why? Why are you doing this? Why are you giving us stuff to complain about? And it's like it's sad. It's MCU, it's Star Wars, it's Star Trek, it's everything. All the entertainment that a lot of us have grown up with, and a lot of us that are new to or have come into entertainment. Let's see. Quite all right. But I want to thank you all for joining me tonight, whether you caught me live or if you've been lurking the whole time or if you catch me on a replay. Appreciate y'all being here and checking me out. As always, if you don't like something, go watch. If you don't like something, don't watch it. Go catch something else. Life is too short for bad entertainment. There's plenty of stuff out there that is fun, that is cool to watch. Pick up a good book or go outside, do something fun that you enjoy. Don't waste your time on bad TV shows and bad movies unless you like bad TV shows and bad movies. Anyway, I'm going to leave you all with that. Until next time, I'll be, Friday, as always, I'm on Comic Relief Crusaders Friday shows, along with his Tuesday shows. I got something coming up for my Saturday afternoon live stream, comic book related. I haven't decided on topic for that, but that should be fun as well. So I'll leave you all with that. Until next time, everyone. Later. See you all.